Hello, beautiful people. This message feels different already from the get-go. But this channeled message is going to be for my sensitive souls, those who society, the world has conditioned you to believe that your beautiful gift of sensitivity comes at a price at which you have to give all of your time and your energy and your care, your empathy to those, to everybody. It's not even about specific people, to everybody, that is some sort of price or sacrifice you have to make. Like you have to be everybody's emotional sanctuary, everybody's therapist, in every room you walk into that you have to absorb everybody's mood for them and carry it for them. And this message is for those who have been waking up and understanding that that is actually not what your gift is for. And it doesn't come at a price. It's not a price you have to pay in order to feel the depth and the amount that you feel. You're a very energetically positive soul. You're full of so much light and love, but it's been dwindled or tainted at times because you once believed or subscribed to the idea that you had to give all of your light and love to everybody, even those who you considered people that were close to you, people that you loved or love currently still. I don't feel like there's an energy of you stopping loving anybody, even those that did hurt you. But when I say those who you've loved, I mean like in a deep relationship with that person, and maybe you don't have that anymore and you still have love for them, but there was like a deep sense of being in love or having some sort of unconditional love. This could also be with family members. I'm also hearing sisters and mother figures. So women in your life, and take that as you do. Don't force it to fit, but this message is for those who are sensitive souls. And this energy just feels like I just want to smile through it because that's just my naturalness. And I feel like I'm just mirroring you guys watching this video right now, but it feels so sedating, different from calm, like I'm sedated. Like I feel heavy, but not necessarily emotionally heavy. It's like I physically, like my body is feeling like I just want to close my eyes and go to sleep. Like I feel heavy. So yeah, you might be feeling right now, or have been feeling recently, just very tired, very energetically drained. But what I'm hearing is that the energetic draining that you're feeling right now isn't because you've been giving out and putting out and doing all of that, and it doesn't feel like it's a burnout type thing where you're overworking yourself or you're giving away your energy. It feels like you have been in a place of reflection and integrating past lessons with past people, past relationships. So as you are reviewing them, as you're revisiting them, for some of you guys, I'm hearing that you actually physically revisited. So this may be like you've revisited an old town or like your hometown, or you revisited an old friend or lover, or you revisited a parental figure or sibling. It feels like there's an energy of you having been in this for a little bit, for a while, of revisiting, reliving your past or things from your past. And in that, you're recognizing how much energy, how much of your peace you gave away in those past relationships, in those past places. And so in that review, in that stepping back, or kind of like feeling like you almost, I feel like there's a sense of, part of this heaviness feels like you might feel like you've regressed, but that's not what's happening. You haven't, and regression is, you guys, remember, regression is an illusion, okay? It's a societal illusion. We're told that we're falling back, we're regressing, we're, whatever. We've lost things that we've gained, like some sort of wisdom or experience. All of a sudden, you've lost that. That's not, it's an illusion, okay? So, but I'm just validating the emotion that I feel here from this collective, the heaviness of feeling. Interesting. It just felt like that was so strange. It just felt like somebody just like opened my car door. I just heard a car door, but it felt like it was like right here. That's the energy. It just feels like, even though it's not actually happening, nobody's opening my door, but like it feels like that, like you're feeling drained. Even though you're not actually like draining yourself right now, it's the feeling, it's the depth that you're going into your past, of reviewing that, of reviewing how you showed up in relationships, or just looking at how you've outgrown certain people, places, and things. And it feels real, like it's happening right here, right now, because of how deep and how purposeful and intentfully you are doing this integration process of reviewing your past. You feel, I feel like this collective is really feeling this pull towards their new selves, this authentic new version of themselves, this aligned version. But you're also at the same time simultaneously feeling this pull to step back and review, which is why you might be feeling like you're regressing, but you're not. Like, you're looking back at old patterns, behaviors, belief systems, maybe even addictions of your own, or addictions of people that you loved, that you were in relationships with, and how that affected you, how that energetically drained you and impacted you. So it feels heavy. So it feels draining. It feels tiring. But there's that weird dichotomy, confusion of like, wait, but like none of that's happening right now. Like, you're not in those relationships, right? You might be revisiting them. You may have actually gone and met with somebody, or called them on the phone, or maybe you physically drove past like an old schoolhouse or a home of yours in a place that you used to live at, and you physically saw it, but you're not living there anymore. You're not attending that school anymore. You're not in that relationship anymore. So you're not actually, it's not happening right now. But the depth of who you are, this very sensitive soul that you are, feels and wants to heal through feeling. So you're doing it so deeply, so it feels so raw, so potent, so present right here, even though you're not reliving those relationships. You're not entertaining or like regressing back into addictions or old patterns, but you are looking at them and you're feeling them, and you're looking at the lessons that you've learned from them, and really kind of tapping back into the emotion that you felt in those times and places. So if it is a relationship, like what kind of drained feeling did you feel, or what did you feel like you didn't have, or a lack of, or maybe it was even just a lack mindset that you had in that relationship or in that time and place. Take it as you do. I don't want any of this to feel like you're forcing it to fit. I do feel like for those that are watching this video, it's going to resonate and hit deeply. You're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. So if you're feeling like that's not really you, then this message isn't for you. Because I feel like as the sensitive souls watching this video, you're going to resonate with a lot of this. Maybe not the specific scenarios of like a hometown or physically going to see somebody, but to some level you're reviewing your past relationships, places, behaviors, patterns, belief systems, and you're energetically putting yourself back in your shoes, metaphorically, of what you felt like, what you experienced, what you went through during those times, and how you have outgrown those people, places, things. It's like I'm getting this vision of like you've outgrown this little like pond thing that you're in. It's so weird, because the duality and dichotomy of the two is that you're like ready to take this jump, like you're very energetic, not drained at all, just like ready to go forward. But there's this hesitancy because your soul knows that to step forward into this authentic version of yourself, this highest version of yourself, the most healed and healthiest version of yourself yet, you have to close off old cycles completely. And to close off old cycles, you have to actually review them and look at them. You can't just have said, I experienced them, right? That's part of it. You've experienced it. You went through it. You walked away from it, or you set boundaries, or to some level you have closed off a large part of that cycle. But to completely like cut the ties and move forward into this new life of yours, there has to be an integration process here, and you're doing that. So it does feel heavy, especially for my empath, especially for those who identify as sensitive souls or just feel everything so heavily. And it doesn't have to be low vibrational or negative energies that you're feeling, right? It could be like, even in those, you identify as a sensitive soul in all areas, even when excitement and like love and everything just feels so heavy, feels so like potent, because you're potent, you are a light. And so you feel all of this, and you're undoing and unbecoming these old beliefs that you had to pay some sort of price or sacrifice your energy or drain yourself in order to feel the depths that you do. Because yes, feeling the depths that you do can feel draining and can be almost at times it feels burdensome, but you also get to feel the depths of all of the other super high vibrational exciting things. Like there is no limitation here with you. You don't, it's not like you feel one emotion deeply and the rest you don't. You feel everything all the time so heavily, and it just feels never ending. And you've had to learn to create boundaries for yourself so you don't drain yourself, so you don't feel like it is ending, like it's limited, right? Like your resources are limited, because they're not limited. And you've been reviewing these past places, people, things, addictions, whatever, that all stem from a belief system that you once had, that you were either unworthy of receiving that type of love or validation or unconditional love or truth or honesty. There's something here that you are uncovering and looking at. I'm hearing the word humble or humbling. Like you're humbling yourself. You're removing an ego here attached to how you showed up in these people, places, things, how you showed up for them or in those relationships, or how you showed up, how you just once existed, whatever, however you once did, however you take that here. You're looking at it and really stripping away ego and layers of the ego here, and humbling yourself and really looking at it in a raw light, but a different perspective than what you did in your past. So as you're taking these times to review and go back and reflect on these relationships and these patterns and these belief systems, you're starting to learn yourself deeper. You're doing a deep dive within yourself. I was saying this in one of my other videos that I recently recorded this week. It's like this descent into yourself. You're doing this deep dive, and because you feel so heavily, all of these old belief systems, feelings, things are coming up, and you're feeling all of them. As you finish closing the cycle, I just got very lightheaded as I said that. It may feel overwhelming. It might feel heavy, but then you have this duality where you kind of like step out as the observer of some sort of your own reality, and you're like, wait, but that's not actually happening. I'm not in this tainted toxic relationship anymore. I'm not living in that place anymore. I'm not believing those belief systems that I used to believe and hold on to. I'm not behaving this way or using these whatever tools, resources, things that were once keeping you stuck, I guess is the word. I'm hearing compartmentalized, but I don't know if that really makes sense with that. But like you were using things to help you cope that you thought were helping you, and now now you have a different perspective. And especially as this observer effect, like you are able to feel the emotions presently raw in your body, like you come back to self and you feel them so heavily. I'm also hearing that you guys are doing a lot of like spiritual wellness practices around healing the physical body. So this could be like somatic jumping and shaking and stuff like that. I've talked about that before. I love doing that. And it's like, it just releases anxiety, stress, energy of some sort, whatever feels pent up. And our body stores onto that. Our physical body holds that. Our muscles hold that. There's a whole other meaning to muscle memory as well too, right? Okay, so it's not just the tearing of the microfibers when you're working out and the muscle memory of that and the strength that we, can gain as we work out. It's also the actual like membrane of our muscles and them holding on to the stress or the tension or the stressors during those times. So just a small example, let's say you worked a 9-to-5 job, but you worked a lot more than those 40 hours a week, right? And it's like a seated job. So you're constantly seated, you're constantly like hunched over or whatever. And your muscles, it's not just that now your back is arched and there's that, but there's the physical, like When you release stress, when you go to like a chiropractor or a massage therapist or something, and they release it, sometimes you feel the emotions, or your body will physically purge because it was holding on to that stress, the tension of what you felt like when you worked in that environment. And now that you no longer work in that environment, remember, this is an example, but take it as you do. You don't work at this 9 to 5 job anymore where you're hunched over and just sitting the whole time and typing, and so you're releasing and learning to integrate those new things, those new boundaries where you've removed yourself from them, and reset your body back into a place of stability, back of homeostasis. It's like you're doing physical and spiritual practices to help physically realign your body. And so maybe you actually are going to a chiropractor or acupuncturist or a massage therapist, or maybe you're just doing your own movements and stretches. I know that I hold a lot of tension in my shoulders and my neck, so I will constantly do deep stretches here and massage the fascia and you know, just lots of different things, lymph node massaging. It feels like there's so many different areas that you are showing up to help heal your body and work through this and transmute it, on top of you feeling it and feeling it to the depths that you feel it. So what happens when a sensitive soul or an empath, however you identify as or don't identify as, but you feel things heavily, you're still here watching this video, you're feeling shit, okay? And you're feeling it to the fullest extent. So what happens when you finally stop giving everything to everybody? What happens when you finally stop subscribing to the idea that it's some sort of, you know, gift at a cost, that you get to express and feel and experience all these things, but you have to give it all away to others instead of being able to feel it yourself, right? And to hold on to all of that yourself, and to be able to set up those energetic boundaries. Like you didn't allow yourself to do that before, because I don't think you believed you thought it was possible or that you were allowed to. So you've been working through the shame and guilt, or any type of emotion that feels low vibrational, yucky, stucky stuff. You've been not bypassing it. You've been sitting with it and looking at that. And as you decide to finally stop giving away everything, all of your time, all of your energy, all of your emotional capacity to hold, and your open heart that you have, this big heart of yours, when you finally stop doing that, what happens? What do we see that happens here? You see many things that happen in a relationship, or in past relationships. You see people getting angry, getting mad, starting to manipulate and control because they want their source of comfort. They want their therapist back. They want their free light that was there for them. And you're no longer free to everybody to just use. You're not just openly accessible anymore. So you'll start hearing people saying, well, you've changed. What's wrong with you? You've changed. You're different. And instead of you showing up and trying to defend yourself, or try to overspeak or over give information even to those people who are trying to control, manipulate you, or question that you've changed, you are just like, yeah, I have changed. Thanks for fluffing noticing. That's you. You're like, you're embracing this journey, this change, this transformation that you've been in. And it's been a process of multiple deaths and rebirths, births of new ideas and understandings. Just, it's a beautiful alchemical process that you're in, but it does feel heavy. Sometimes it feels almost like draining, like you've stepped back or regressed, but you haven't. It's an illusion. You are waking up to that. There's this observer, empath, awakening essence on a grand scale that I'm feeling. So yeah, it does feel like there are moments, even in this channel as I'm speaking, where I'm like, whoo. I'm not my super crazy bubbly self as sometimes you guys see, but there is this excitement. There's this like raw power of like forward movement and excitement and faith and hope and optimism. But then there's this also of just like, whew, like a sedated, tired, drained, questioning life type of thing, like questioning, are you falling back, are you going back to old patterns, you know? But you have been working through the mindset and the understanding and undoing and unbecoming what you believed was selfish, or what you believed you were not allowed to do for yourself, and you're finally stepping into that. And you're doing that by reviewing your past, where those ideas, ideologies, and understandings that you couldn't be those things, that you weren't worthy of that type of love or reciprocation of some sort. You're going back to that specific time, or those specific times where that was the heaviest in that mentality that you were, of not being worthy enough, or not or just being a doormat basically, or just giving away all of your essence to people. You're going back to that to close off those cycles so you can move forward and no longer be in that place. You will always be a deep feeler. That is your gift. That is part of your purpose here on life, is to feel things, experience things, and then show up in that raw authenticity in those feelings as you do, whether it's bubbly and fun, whether it's serious, whether it's sad, whether it's heavy and draining, however it is, to show up because you are somebody who can feel those things to the fullest extent. And it's so beautiful and healing. And you're healing yourself by going back and looking at this stuff. And we've been in this retrograde season, so perfect. It's perfect divine timing of going back and looking back on these past things. And as we are now in the new moon, depends on when you're watching this, of course, but timeless reading either way. It's like there's phases of cycles. We have retrogrades that keep happening. So either way, we're close to, when you're watching this, you're either close to it or it just happened or it's about to happen. But this new moon place is time for you to just release to finally just step out of that old system, those old mindsets. I'm struggling with my words right now too. It's coming through. Like you're working through something with your communication. You're working through setting boundaries, speaking up. This could be for yourself. This could be starting to like say, I am worthy of this. I am deserving of reciprocal relationships. I am deserving of abundance. You know, you might be actually saying those things, but with my words kind of stumbling up right now, I'm really feeling like there has something to do with communication. You're working through setting boundaries and speaking up and saying things and not harboring or holding guilt and shame along with that as you state those boundaries, as you set those new things into place, whether it's walking away from relationships or people, or just setting boundaries in areas, or just looking back fondly on things, places, times, but also recognizing that you've outgrown that. Like you have a different perspective, so you're not going to show up in that same, when you get the time to spiral back and you get that place. I'm trying, there's so much coming through. Life is a spiral. We're going to keep coming back to things. You're going to be able to, in every part of your life, you're going to get times to come back and review certain things, whether it physically happens, emotionally, mentally, however. And as you're doing that, you have outgrown this. So it's like you're not just spiraling back and hitting the same freaking post board. Like you're hitting, why did I say post board? I was thinking a lamp post, but whatever. You're not just hitting the same thing. You have a different perspective. So you're seeing that lamppost now that you used to keep running into, right? And hitting yourself with, but I don't know why that is coming through. Something about a lamppost, you guys. Somebody running into something constantly. Maybe you see yourself as clumsy. I don't know why that's coming through so strongly. But either way, however you want to take that, you're coming back to these scenarios, these things, however it is, physically or emotionally, in your dreams, whatever, you're coming back to them and you're looking at them with different information, with different knowledge that you have now. You've gone through the experience, you've gained that wisdom, but because you've been doing the integration, the shadow work, diving deep into self, doing that deep descent into yourself and feeling everything and actually transmuting and working through it and not just bypassing it and being like, cool, on to the next, right? Because you know that you're meant for more, but like you're not just jumping into more, you're actually doing the work. And this new moon is allowing that time to be heightened for you to release that. So doing things like I'm hearing candle magic. So for some of you guys, maybe you like to light candles or rituals of some sort with candles. Take that as you do. I'm also seeing herbs too, scattering herbs in places. So you might make like a salt or herb circle, or add that into your bath, Epsom salt, some rose petals, taking care of yourself in some way. Like this is the time to do that, because you specifically watching this video, this very deep feeling, empathetic, sensitive soul, this is your gift moving forward, and you're closing off cycles that drained you of that gift, and that wasn't a price you had to pay, and you're recognizing that it's not a price you have to pay. It's actually your gift, and people want to experience that and feel that, and you don't just give it to everybody anymore. Now you show up for yourself first, and you give and offer what you can to the deepest depths that you can and want to for the aligned people in your life now. No longer just giving it out to everybody. I'm still stuttering over my words. So something here, I don't know what that is. Do I want to go into some confirmation? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get my oracle deck. Also, I don't know why that just happened. I'm going to say it because everything that happens in my readings happen for a reason. But somebody might be like on their menstrual cycle right now. Like I just grabbed my deck and one of my feminine products came out and just fell out over here. So it's like you might be really feeling things, but you might also be doing like rituals, since we were talking about that earlier, rituals and like different practices of, through the new moon, like something to do, I mean, maybe TMI for some of you guys, but I'm just going to say it, something to do with like menstrual blood, or something to do with like, yeah, I don't know, something to do with your period or menstrual, I don't know. So take that as you do. That's not going to fit for everybody, but that came out and then the vision came through and I was like, oof, like that was an interesting one. So let's get clarity on, what was I asking about clarity on? Love that. Love when that happens. Can't even remember what I was going to ask clarity on. This energy is draining, so you might also feel like a little foggy at times and then very clear at other times. Again, there's this interesting dichotomy of both happening, but you are fluctuating through a lot of transitions right now and you're closing off a lot of cycles, so it makes sense why some days you're like super motivated and inspired and some days you're like, I could just drink a tea and sleep. And you allow yourself to do that now, which is so beautiful. You allow yourself that space to rest, to feel things when you want to, and when you feel creative and you feel driven to do something, you do it. How beautiful. I don't remember what I was asking clarity on, you guys. Was it about the menstrual cycle? I don't know. I don't know why I would ask that. Did I ask that? I don't need clarity on somebody's menstrual cycle. That's okay. But somebody's, it meant something. We're just going to pull a card. I'm shuffling here. All right, so on the top of the deck here, we have acceptance. Acceptance. Radical acceptance. You're just accepting how that this is the process of transmutation, of healing, of working through this. And you're starting to understand your purpose and your drive. And you're accepting that. And you're working with it, which is so powerful. You're not resisting it anymore. You're not subscribing to the idea of society that you have to just give everything. You're just accepting that this is your gift and you're meant to show up as this raw, radiant version of yourself that was once suppressed, both by you and others. And now you're like, no longer will I be the one suppressing myself. And now I'm setting boundaries so others can't suppress me. And you're doing that. How beautiful. And underneath acceptance, we have Aquarius. We got some Aquarius energy. I'm getting a little itchy on my neck here. Interesting. Sometimes when I get itchy, and it depends on how often it happens, but it could be like an irritation or a distraction of some sort. But again, you could be Aquarius, you could be revisiting energies with somebody who's an Aquarius or Aquarius in their chart. It's very, I want to be different. I'm different. I do things differently. And like, you just approach things differently. It's like the lone wolf or the black sheep. It's funny that I said wolf and sheep too together, because those usually are like the opposites of each other. But it's like in this scenario, it's like you see yourself as so different, like so vastly different from others, and you do things like hermit mode, lone wolf mode a lot of times. Not that Aquariuses have to be that way. That's just the energy. That's just what I'm seeing and hearing right now about Aquarius being focused on what they want to do and really feeling different than others. And now you're showing up authentically as yourself and not as others want you to show up. You're not showing up as the sponge soaking up everybody else's emotions and moods like they want you to, like you've done. You're like cleansing that from yourself. So yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot of power happening right now. A lot of transformation, a lot of energy being used to integrate and heal your physical body, but also like a spiritual waking of some sort. And it's really beautiful. All right. And then there's the yes card at the bottom that I always talk about. I'm like, where's the yes card? Yes. Yes. Yes to whatever you were just asking yourself. Yes. Got to be careful with that one, right? But so, yeah, I mean, as you awaken in an essence, as you start to step out of this belief system that you have to show up a certain way, or that you have to give your gift or pay some sort of price or self-sacrifice or show up for others first before you show up for yourself, you're healing through all of that. And instead of you turning hard and cold, like a lot of people would expect or hope for, because if you're not going to be there for them, if you're not going to be their emotional sponge, their therapist, whatever, then, you know, that could be that energy where I was getting that itchiness. It's like you're growing out of things, you're closing cycles, and you're actively doing it, or you just finished a place and time where you were reviewing that, or closing off cycles, patterns, relationships. Maybe you did have a conversation with this communication energy I was feeling. Maybe you actually had a conversation with somebody over the phone, in person, text, some sort of communication with somebody where you set a boundary, or you stated something like, I'm moving forward, what I'm hearing is without you, to some level. Maybe you didn't state it as tactlessly as I'm hearing it, like, I'm moving on without you, peace, bye. But like, someone may have had a conversation here where you actually stated something. You said, hey, this bothers me, or I no longer want to do these things moving forward with you. So, and you're just communicating with somebody, setting that boundary, and somebody's not liking that you're moving on without them, is what it seems like. I mean, in a sense, since you were this light, we're getting this light post, we're getting this light energy here. It's like you were a physical light in the dark. Like, you illuminated things for other people, and you helped shine possibility and potentiality on these other people, like at least recognize their own. You didn't give them something they didn't already have. You just illuminated it for them by you being yourself, but you forgot to do that for yourself. So as you like stopped being this free light lamppost out there, people are like, wait, where's my light? Like, time out, hang on, now I feel yucky and gross, and I feel in the dark, and they're dealing with their shadows, and they don't have you to help coach them out of it, or empathetically be there and validate their feelings, because you're now focused on yourself and you're doing that healing. And it does feel heavy, and it does feel hard, and it does at times feel draining, but you have been doing a beautiful process. You've been doing a beautiful thing in this process of alchemizing and truly just feeling everything and knowing your worth now. Knowing your worth now. Even if people want you to be there for them, or want you to still be that same person that you used to show up as, you're standing in your truth now. You're standing in your authenticity, in your purpose, and you're aligning yourself. You're aligning yourself and doing the physical body healing work here. You're aligning yourself with what feels right for you, that isn't draining anymore, that is actually very much uplifting, and it fills your bucket, it fills your cup. You feel invigorated. So you might feel heavy right now, and there's going to be cycles and waves in life, right? It doesn't just mean that you're always going to be feeling perpetually amazing for the rest of your life, but you're going to feel less of that yucky, sucky stuff as you learn to transmute it. As you're integrating it, and then you're releasing it with this new moon. You're releasing it with whatever time it is for you, but you're finally like stepping into that understanding of who you are, and that you don't have to show up in societal ways or standards anymore. You don't have to. Not that you ever had to, but you believed that, right? So there's this finalization, there's this closing process happening, and you're doing a beautiful job, and it does feel heavy. So I'm going to validate that for you, but not that you need that from me, but it does feel heavy. But you're doing a great job, and you're gonna be going into such a beautiful place that you haven't ever been before, but it's not going to feel draining. It's going to feel exciting, invigorating, new. Not the same cycles and yucky, stucky stuff that you've been in. For what I'm hearing, it's like 10 to 15 years, bro. Like a long time. And you're making your way through it. I'm getting hot and sweaty now. I'm actually going to end this. I'm feeling very drained through that, but that was a really potent message that I've been sitting on for 2 days, and it felt forced if I tried to show up yesterday. I actually did try to show up and record it yesterday, and it kind of just felt like this is a rest day. So I validated that for myself. I gave myself that rest day, and I showed up today, and I still feel a little heavy, but it doesn't feel forced. It felt like this was the right time to show up and share this with you guys, because I feel like we've all been, as a collective, going through this. Just like I said, this feels like a very grand energy here. Like a lot of us are going through this regression, quote unquote regression, which isn't, but it's like stepping back and revisiting those things to close them off, to really see how much you've outgrown them, to see how much you have gained wisdom, knowledge, information in those areas, and how you're able to move forward with them without having the extra baggage here that it doesn't have to come with you, right? You're closing that off and leaving it there at the baggage claim and you're traveling without it because you're like, I don't need it anymore. You're just going with yourself to whatever destination you're going to. And it's beautiful. All right. I'm sweating. I'm gonna let it let it end right there. But I love you guys so much. You guys are doing an amazing job, and you should be so proud of yourself. Big relief. Okay, the new moon's here. Do something fun. I'd love to know what you guys do, what your rituals are for the new moon, or if you guys want to share that, or whatever you've been working through. What cycles have you been closing off? What have you been looking at in depth that has really been setting you free, that has really been opening your mind and allowing this new perspective to flourish, to blossom, to grow? I'd love to know. So I love you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day or your night or whatever time it is, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.